Hello, I'm Professor Farrokh Langdana at Rutgers Business School. I'm a professor in the Finance and Economics Department, and I'm the director of the Rutgers Executive MBA program known as the Powerhouse. So, welcome to the Powerhouse. This is going to be a very short video clip today, unlike some of my other ones which you've seen on YouTube and elsewhere. This one's going to talk about the deadweight loss of trade deficits and trade wars. So very simply, two countries, A and B, are in a trade war. And this is now February 2019. So you can get an idea of what's kind of going on right now. So A is United States of America, B is China. They're in a trade war. They're hammering away at each other. So A is putting tariffs, which is taxes, on steel and aluminum coming from China. China is putting tariffs or taxes on goods coming from America to China. And both sides are in the throes of a trade war. So let's kind of back up a bit here and look at negotiations. Here we have President Trump, who in the past has been successful in these deals or negotiations with the gardeners union and the electricians union and the plumbers who are fixing his hotels and the people who are manicuring his golf clubs, So he kind of pushes them back. He kind of waits them out. They finally cave in, and finally he gets his way. And what you have at the end of the day is that the deal has happened, and they move on, life as usual. Trump gets the electricians to finally work at a price that he likes, or the gardeners to manicure his golf clubs the way he likes, at the price he likes, and life goes on as usual. What happens in trade wars is very different. So here in trade wars, you have A and B, the two countries, but there's also countries C, D, E, and F. You must understand that. So suddenly what you have here is that China is not being allowed. China has put a tax on American wheat, American pork, American soybeans, and those have become very expensive. American farmers are hurting. They're suffering in the trade war. So suddenly countries C, D, and E come into the picture. Canada shows up and is now selling stuff to wheat, soybeans, sorghum to China. The Europeans are selling more pork to China and Japan for the first time than America. Brazil and Argentina have suddenly come in. They are selling agriculture and beef to China. So countries C, D, and E have come into the picture. And so the point I'm making is, by the time this trade war is over, there will be a deadweight loss in that the trade that has lost, the business that has been lost to Canada and Argentina and Brazil is gone. These are long-term contracts that China has made with Canada. Canada's GDP is going to maybe go up 3.5% over the next 3 years at the expense of American exports. Same thing with Argentina and Brazil. So this isn't like Trump waited out the plumbers, waited out the gardeners, or the guys who are fixing the electrical wiring in his new hotels, and finally business as usual. By the time this trade war is over, we have lost business. We have lost our elements of our export sector. You see, it's a deadweight loss in macroeconomics is a loss to the buyer and the seller. Gone, lost to society. And so we don't just pick up and it's business as usual after the trade war blows over. So you must understand this big difference. The other point I want to make in this short video is that supply chains change in a trade war. Routes of imports and exports deviate. And once the trade war is over, they don't come back. Let me give you an example. There would have been no tea, really, in India if it hadn't been for the Opium Wars. So the British had moved into Darjeeling and Assam actually. There was a gentleman called Fortune, appropriately named, who started tea plantations in Assam with Chinese workers and Chinese expertise before the Opium Wars. But it was only the Opium War with China that made the English think, we need to get another source. We need to grow our tea somewhere else because China is compromised and it's unsteady and it's unstable and there's a war going on and let's find plan B. Hence tea was moved to India and it never moved out. The supply chain became permanent. Another example is Egyptian cotton and Indian cotton too. That happened in the Civil War in the United States. There was an embargo of Confederate cotton, Southern cotton, by the Union states, and the rest of the world said, we need cotton, And so again, the British Empire moved cotton to Egypt. and parts of India, and hence the Egyptian cotton, which is now in so much favor and used in high-end fabric. And so that supply chain never went back. You see, the point I'm making is once these supply chains change, they are permanent. Another deadweight loss. So trade wars, they don't really end. Long trade wars, even if parties A and B kiss and make up, so to speak, the damage is done. It's long run and long term. And it's very important that we understand this. So thank you for joining me here at the Rutgers Executive MBA Powerhouse. And I look forward again to a video clip not in the too distant future. Thank you very much.